Alright folks, and welcome back to the channel. It's time to preview Sunday's game as Celtic head to Firhill for the real Glasgow derby in the quarter-finals of the League Cup. We're also going to go over the yearly accounts which has just been released, and we'll obviously discuss them as well. I'm joined by Alistair to go over everything. How are you doing, Alistair?
Good, thanks, mate. Yourself?
Hey, aye, good. Obviously, get back into it, obviously, with Celtic. I mean, we'll obviously get into we'll start, I think, with the yearly account stuff, and things like that. Before we do start, I'm going to go on a bit of a rant at my end because it has really annoyed me. What did you make of Jim White's comments on fan media, as he called it, with exclamation marks?
Well, I found it really patronised. He obviously doesn't understand it. It's ignorance. But
Aye.
having met Jim White on one occasion, it's never left me. I think he's the most ignorant person I've ever had the misfortune to meet, and I've met some a-holes in my time, but Jim White's definitely up there.
No, I just found it really patronising as well. Now I want to go into journalism and stuff like that, but to sit there and say that to sit with the real journalist, I mean,
It was the two fingers, basically. Fan media. It was really dead patronising, but he's now sitting in a radio show, and the fact, listen, I don't like talk shite, we call it, and I'll be honest with you, some of the yahoos they've got on that is self-explanatory, but Jim White, I think he's bang out of order and way wide of the mark. I mean, I can only imagine what we'd be like if our manager is Russell Martin is talking about, and if our manager was, I'd be angry. And I'm not in the business to defend Rangers supporters. They can defend themselves, but they're entitled to, it's their club. They're the ones put money in.
Aye, no, I know.
Same as we are.
Exactly, and I think the way that it's gone now, fan media is growing bigger and bigger by the season as such. Aye, as I said, I want to get into journalism, and he has got a point. There is just journalists out there that just don't ask the questions that need to be asked. There is also journalists out there who do ask the questions that need to be asked and make the most of the questions they get asked, said managers at press conference, but to sit there and tell us that the real journalists, what are real journalists then? Real journalists are people who ask the questions that should be asked. Real journalists are not people who sit there and they go, they beat around the subjects just to keep the press passing. That's the thing. So it's not, but I think it's also patronising towards journalists as well to label some people real journalists and some people not real journalists. In my opinion, and I've said this for a long time, journalists, fan media, they all for me serve similar purpose: to ask, to question managers, players, whatever. Now, some journalists don't do that properly, but to sit there and just dismiss fan media like that is absolutely disgusting, in my opinion. And
I mean, obviously, we do fan media on a small scale, but I would say this: it's getting bigger, and newspapers and journalists sales are going down, Josh. They're getting worse because a lot of people would, if you're a, obviously there's a happy balance, but fan media is getting bigger, and fan media, I found this a lot recently. They seem to be asking the best questions.
Oh no, definitely. Oh no, they have been in terms of the Celtic side of it.
Yeah.
In terms of the Celtic side of it. So to cap this bit off, I just had to get that out. Jim White, shut up. Nobody listens to you. Anyway, so shut up. Personally. So but no, Alistair, back to obviously the football. Obviously Celtic released their yearly accounts, which was highly anticipated, to see what sort of excuses they came out with in terms of the big budget and competing and talking about the transfer window. It didn't disappoint. It didn't disappoint.
Paid last year.
Aye, so pretty much. Just adding some more bonuses. So I'll get it up and we'll have a quick read through it. Basically, the key things, talking about the winners. Revenue increased to £143.6 million, which is a 15.2% increase on 2024. Gain on sale of player registrations, 31 million. So basic profit after tax, £33.9 million. Year-end cash, £77.3 million. Obviously, this doesn't factor in the sales of Nicholas Kuhn and what we brought in that summer window. We worked out if you take away what we brought in or what we brought in, well, what we obviously paid for players. I think you were talking about £13 million.
Yeah.
But we also brought in about £30 million. That's got us nearly up to about nearly £98 million. Aye, about that in the bank. Would the seriously? So it was really interesting to see the chairman's statement. Basically, it just talked about a successful year for Celtic Football Club on and off the pitch, and talked about a memorable European campaign. Shame we can't have one of them this season because of your inability to back the manager on the transfer market. So, but talked about the revenue increase, talked about the successful Champions League campaign. We'll say the same again. Why can we not have one this season? We'll wait if they go. You don't back the managers. So anyway, talked about the expanded Champions League format, which now guarantees 8 matches, but which will not be taking part in this season because you don't back managers. And I'll say that quite a lot for this statement. I think that's extremely important to back that up. Talked about just more money despite strong earnings. Talked about the board shares.
Your favourite part.
The board shares the ambitions. Oh, that's coming. Don't worry. The board shares the ambitions of the supporters. Didn't know you're a comedian, Peter. Anyway, sees this to see the strongest possible team on the pitch. Well, that's just bollocks. And we'll continue. Well, if you wanted the strongest players on the pitch, why did we wait until after the transfer when the Champions League? Sorry, to bring in Sebastian Tenecki.
Yeah,
when they wanted less money at the time as well, but no, we waited until the end and then paid more money for him. But anyway, talked about the short-term performance, long-term financial stability, must factor in all long-term implications of decision. The strategy has been vital for Celtic, and it's been pivotal to our success over the last 2 years. Like some of Desmond pals like to come out and tell us, but we'll go into that soon as well. On the pitch, talked about a 55th league title, whatever else, and then talked about that Bayern Munich game, talked about the women's team, talked about the players that we brought in, just changes to the men's refresh. strengthen. We recognise the frustrations. This is the good part. We recognise and share the frustration and disappointment of our supporters with respect to the timing of some incoming acquisitions. Sorry, we always look to improve how we operate and overcome challenges where proper. Just talked about again about I'm missing quite a lot of this out because it's not really relevant. Talked about selling, whatever else. Talked about looking forward. Myself and the executive will continue to represent our club at the highest level of domestic and European football. Given the financial, there we go.
Stand by, folks.
Right, here comes the excuse, and I am going to debunk this massively in a minute after reading it. Given the financial disparity that now exists across European leagues, it's vital. It's vital that the interests of Scottish football are represented to ensure that we are not only able to maintain our position but grow and take advantage of the continuous global expansion. Then it also talking about people that have passed away. Obviously, that's unfortunate. And then he talked about my sincere gratitude and thanks go to the club who support the club season after season, given their unwavering support. Thanks must also go to hard work and dedicated employees whose contribution is vital to success we have enjoyed in recent years. That unwavering support for you personally is going to keep dwindling, and it's going to keep dwindling. So this isn't going away. Right. The one main point from that, Alistair, and I'll let you come in a minute, that I want to debunk is this European, the disparity that they say, well, I'll quote what they say, something about the European disparity, the financial disparity now exists across European leagues. Right. I watched a lot of Champions League games this week because obviously it returns, and I looked at interest. I actually purposely watched teams I would say that Celtic kind of measure against, right? Some I think Celtic are bigger than. Right. Pathos, a team from Cyprus, drew 0-0 with Olympiacos away from home after being down to 10 men. I'm highly doubting they're going to spend a lot of money. Club Bruges, watched their game. I mean, they're incredible way they play football, man. I watched them against Rangers, and part of me just thought it was just because of the opposition and who it was obviously working Rangers, and Rangers weren't that great. But no, they blew away Monaco, something chronic. And then Karabag of Kazakhstan,
Azerbaijan, yeah.
So Karabag go away to Benfica, away from home, go 2-0 down, come back and win 3-2. Where's the financial disparity there? Because Benfica, of course, is going to have more money than what Karabag is. I'm pretty sure Monaco will probably have more money than what Bruges have. And do you know what the best one is? Do you know what the best one is? St. Gilloise in Belgium, who Tony Bloom owns as well, went away against PSV Eindhoven and won, was it 3-1? They won?
3-1.
So I looked into Union St. Gilloise now. Obviously, they're driven by this Tony Bloom recruitment thing that he's now go to Hearts. And that's why people say to me, do you think Hearts could do something in the next 5 years? I think they could, because I think money outdoes, recruitment. You can spend all the money you want, but the recruitment needs to be right.
Bad recruitment's a killer.
Exactly. So Union St. Gilloise, I think, brought in 60-odd million euros worth of players, right? But then they spent £13 million. That's probably similar to what Celtic have probably spent in terms of what we've brought in terms of profit to loss.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm trying to say. So this whole European disparity thing is utter not. I'm sorry, it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. It's just an excuse to go. No, we want to keep the money.
We can't compete. We want to keep the status quo. We're just happy finishing a point ahead of Rangers.
Exactly.
That's all that they're telling you.
And I love how he constantly. Well, let's be honest, this isn't coming. It's got Peter Lawler's name on it, but it's not coming. Peter Lawler's not exactly sitting there writing that, is he? Nah.
No.
But I love how they mention Bayern Munich all the time and that memorable European campaign. That made us a lot of money. Well, of course it is.
I mean, I said to you
It's just obvious, man.
the Slovan Bratislava game last year. See what happens when you spend a bit of money? You can get out of that group and compete.
Yes, of course you can. Of course you can. And it really pissed me off this week when I seen those results, especially the Karabag one. I was fuming about that because I was like, right, they're taking us for a prick, and this is why it's so important that us as a fan base get them out, get changing this club because we're going to keep getting stagnant. You're not sitting there and telling me that Karabag can go and beat Benfica away from home and say it might be a one-half result. I don't care. It's there. It can happen. If Karabag can do it, I'm pretty sure we can do it.
Sheriff Tiraspol
Beat Real Madrid.
Beat Real Madrid.
But
no, I got their freak results. Right? But you've got to keep trying. How come we never got a freak result?
Aye, but all you need to do is look close to home. All you need to do is look close to home. Look at us last season.
Yeah.
We didn't get we qualify for the next stage.
We can't even
there. Then it's there. And that's what really put this whole European landscape. We're not asking you to go and spend 100 million in Lamine Yamal. Of course not. But come on, fuck. I'm sick of the excuses. And fans are sick of the excuses as well. Alistair, we've seen it the weekend as well for that. Obviously, the protest, the 12-minute protest, that 75%, I think, of the supporters had...
aye.
And what about, because I'm going to be honest, right, I think the other 20-odd%, or the other 25%, I've made an arse of myself there, the other 25%, I was good at maths normally, but anyway, the other 25% of supporters who chose to stay and have been getting a bit of a hard time. And I did see a comment on one of the videos I think we done, and the person I think did say, if you don't do it and you're a happy clapper, and I was like, and partially, right, I do agree, right, I do agree to an extent, but what I would say, just because that 25% stayed in the stadium, at the end of the day, that is their prerogative. I know a lot of people who stayed in the I know somebody who stayed in the stadium who is wanting this bowled out, but he still wants to, and that's fine. That is perfectly fine. And I'm pretty sure the people who did stay in the stadium who want the bowled out will help in other ways. I'm pretty sure of that. So I think it's important not to.
And the North Club did say at that meeting they didn't want a kind of we need to be together on this, but they didn't want. They were shouting and bawling and in the ground for the ones that were already there.
Because
I wasn't, for what it's worth.
Aye.
But what I will say, you can't tell people how to support the club.
No, don't. And I'm going to be honest. I think mostly every single supporter in this club, apart from a few now, are at the point. Even if they did stay in the stadium for the protest, I'm pretty sure there'll be other ways where they'll go at no. Because I think it's bad.
At the end of the season, Josh, it will be interesting because that's when they'll need to come back round with the begging balls. Good luck with that.
Aye. This board need changed, and I'm really glad to see that the fans are coming together. I think the fan kind of advisory board's been put together now, which is good. It's good to get his moving.
I'll get you the name, Josh. Keep talking.
Obviously the North Club will come out with the name and stuff. I don't really know of it. But it's obviously good to obviously get that put together and just kind of see fans kind of coming together and actually looking for movement to try and get change at this club, because what I just said about 5 minutes ago about the whole, they keep using this European excuse, this European, the FSR stuff. They use that as an excuse in that heartless statement. Then they use then they've used the widening gap that they use every single year. There is a gap, but does that mean that clubs like Qarabag and all that can't compete? Well, they're finding it easy to compete. They're qualifying for the Champions League.
You don't stop trying, Josh.
Aye, but that's what But that's what this board is. It's like, we don't want to speculate to accumulate. There is speculation, of course. No, but obviously it's good to see fans actually coming together, because this board need ousting, man, or some sort of change, Alistair, because I'm sick of the excuses, man. I'm sick of it. It's no good enough. Excuses aren't washing anymore when you're seeing other clubs around Europe getting results.
I definitely, mate, definitely. And I'm not expecting Celtic to win a European trophy. I just want to say something. Well, at least we competed year in and year out, but we're not even doing that now, Josh. I mean, for example, have you ever felt as flat getting into a European group campaign, whether it be Champions League or Europa?
I know exactly, But it's, as I said, it's obviously good. Fans, I think, have had enough now, and they want to obviously come together. And as I said, the fan advisory board's probably going to be, creative, whatever else, and stuff will obviously happen in terms of protests, whatever else. Which, as I said, we fully support it, because I've had enough. I've had enough. I think both of us have had enough of just the excuses. When it comes to this club trying to expand.
Sorry, Josh, but they're not even singing to the same hymn sheet, because I don't know if you spotted Michael Nicholson's statement. He basically took responsibility. So what is it? The chairman says one thing, the chief exec saying another. So it's like you say one thing and we'll confuse him.
Aye, no, definitely. But no, we'll obviously see what obviously happens in the coming weeks. But as I can already see, that fans are fuming with the statement. Again, no matter anything the Celtic board do is just not going to wash anymore. Fans have had enough. They don't want to see statements. They want to see Celtic
The
competing.
board is toxic, Josh.
Aye, they want to, at the end of the day, a supporter doesn't want to see statements. They want to see their club competing at the highest level,
right.
and we're not seeing that. And that's the thing. So words for me are fruitless, they're penniless for me now. I want to see Celtic compete at the top level, and I don't think we'll do that with this board in place. But Alistair, in terms of the actual on the park stuff, Partick Thistle on Sunday in the League Cup quarter-final, it's a chance to get to Hampden. It's a game Celtic should be winning. With no disrespect to Partick, but we need to keep it. We need to take it really seriously, because I don't think it's a gimme either. Like Partick,
No, it's
a
a
decent
one-off
side.
game. And the League Cup is fully one-off games. Look at
Aye.
the last one-off cup game we played.
Aye. No, definitely.
In our faces.
But no, I think it's a game. Obviously, we should be winning. Got to obviously Firhill on Sunday. I listened to Brendan Rodgers' press conference, and he was asked about Ballachuish, and I found it interesting that he kind of took responsibility for, because somebody was asking about Ballachuish, maybe no, playing as well, and he was like, no, well, that's my fault because I'm playing him at the wrong position. I don't think it's Rodgers' fault. I think it's, yet again, down to the board's inability and the recruitment to actually recruit properly. But I think, what would you think? Well, obviously, we'll get into team selection and discuss it, obviously, because some people might want to make changes.
I would make changes, just quite frankly, because you have to, because we've got Red Star on Wednesday and we've Hibs on the Saturday, mate, so you're going to have to make changes, no doubt about that.
No, I know.
Let's be honest, we're kind of fortunate that who we've managed to draw, because we should be able to make changes. I'd like to see a kind of team that started against Falkirk, Bernardo, Engels. Don't want to see McGregor. No harm to him. And obviously, Sanazalo, I think, will start. Dane Murray should start. And Celts should start as well.
Aye. I think my team, I would go with Sinisal and goal, 'cause I think he's the cup kind of goalkeeper. Right back, I think Donovan will keep his place
There's
because
nobody else, is
there's
there?
nobody else. Centre half, I think Dane Murray will play alongside. I think Scales.
To left
Um,
footer.
I just think we Scale. Maybe he might play Carter Vickers, but I've always had this thing that whoever's put forward to the press conference usually gets something to play in the game. So I've always, and also Scales spoke at the press conference. Left back,
Yanamura.
no, I think that's too risky. I think it's either have to be in there. I said actually, if you want my honest opinion on Anamura, I think he'll be gone in January permanently. It's a complete. It's just so strange. To
Yeah,
be honest with you.
it felt strange at the time, to be fair.
Like along with like Jemai Simpson Pusey, like Rogers came out and saying, "Oh, for a longer term," and I'm like, "But he's only here for 12 months."
Aye,
So I
we're
don't
not
know.
buying them. We're
So
not buying them, so what's the point?
so signs like that, I just think I'm going to play much a part, if any. Midfield, I'd like to see Arnie Engels in the Callum McGregor role.
Yeah.
Paulo Bernardo, I think he needs to start. If he doesn't start, then I think it says a lot, to be honest, with Paulo Bernardo's it. And I just think I think the way Paulo Bernardo's been treated at Celtic, it's unfair. If I'm being
Yeah.
honest with you, I think he's got real quality. And he's probably some of the quality that Celtic have been missing in that midfield. And I do get a bit annoyed when I see the midfield maybe on fire. And you've got Arne Engels sitting on the bench, you've got Paulo Bernardo sitting on the bench. Why no change it up? Why no try and change it up? So it's a perfect opportunity to change it up. So I'd say Arne Engels, Paulo Bernardo. I'd give Luke McGowan a chance. Taneki, I think, will start on the left hand side because why would you drop him? Just keep letting him go and try. You don't want to dent his confidence. You just want to keep him as confident as possible. Come in at command, look brilliant. Started really well. Parquisha, I think, will start on the right hand side. I think Rogers is going to just try and get. I think it's important to make changes, but I think it's also important to try and get the team to gel because we spoke a lot about maybe the team being a bit disjointed at the start of the season. Well, it's a perfect opportunity to try and get them, use each other, whatever, obviously ahead of that game in Belgrade on Wednesday. So I'd play Barquisha and then I would go with Dies and Mider up top.
Yeah, I actually thought maybe starting Ian Atchwin gets some minutes in his legs, but I think he might play Kells, as he calls him, up top, just to get minutes in the legs, Josh. And obviously, I kind of don't want to see Maida up front because I think we're going to need him in the next 2 games. So that's how I would go. But see, to be honest, see with these League Cup 1-11s, guys, we're kind of
Maybe could be completely wrong.
playing throwing darts at a dartboard and hoping where they land, to be honest.
Aye.
Especially in PARTICK, no disrespect to them.
No. But I was to finish off, what was their score predictions? I'm getting extremely worried about these score predictions because we've got one right the whole season and you're sitting at 1-0. So
that was the very first game, was it? No.
it was. I've had a few near misses, man, but then Liam Scales decides to ruin it. Half the time, so.
You know, he's doing his best for his countrymen here.
Aye. I'm going to go 3-0.
Well, I was going to go 3-0, but I'll go 4-0. I'll go 4.
I think 3-0. I think it will be. I mean, a difficult game, but maybe we're making out. But I think we'll get over the line. Obviously, get to Hampden, and just obviously get to Hampden.
You'll know the draw before me. No doubt.
Well, let's just make sure we're in the draw first and foremost. But I'm going to wrap it up there for the match preview. We'll be back as usual for post-match reaction following Sunday's game. Until then, we'll speak to you later, and hail, hail.
Hail, hail.